I'd like to answer some of your questions about our chicks. Hi, welcome to Daddy Curb's farm. Now, I've never done a video like this where I answer your questions directly, but I thought it'd be fun to try. Yesterday, or a couple days ago, my last video, I showed the chickens, the baby chicks, and the ducks, and I got a few questions in the comments. One of those was where Ross had asked, and forgive me Ross, I'm going to paraphrase your questions because I don't have them memorized. Do you have any problems with the chicks that are hatched in the upper box falling down? And I answered that question directly in the comments as no, it's never been a problem. But interestingly enough, the very next day after that video launched and you asked that question, this little chick fell out of the box. We didn't see it fall, but directly after we saw what was happening. This little chick fell out from under the hen that was in here. She's out now because she only had the one egg, and immediately took to the hen that has the other chick. This chick just decided that that was its mommy, so now it's actually a good thing because the chick that's in there, the little silvery one, has a friend. So it's not really a problem, I guess, as long as there's a mother hen on the ground level. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. Oh, see, there she goes. LilBit AtATime asked the question, I have some month-old silkies and some day-old silkies, can he mix them? Well, and along with that, do the older chickens try to hurt the baby chickens? The answer to that really is, it depends. It depends on the chickens you have, their personalities, and your environment. Sometimes, yes, the older ones do try to hurt the babies. But really with silkies, not very often. They're generally pretty accepting of the younger ones. If the chick is already a week old or so, it's generally, active enough to get up, find its own food and water, and not be too bothered. As long as there's a place that it can get away from the bigger chickens if it needs to. You want to provide some habitat, some safety areas so that it can go and find those places where he can get some rest. I don't think I would suggest putting the day-olds or the very young chicks with the older chicks and then just walking away. Put them together, make sure they have their separation, and check on them often. If you see that the larger ones are picking on the smaller ones, do something to separate them, provide a separate brooder, or just more separation in the big brooder. If there's a mama chick involved, like the chicks were hatched under a mama, so there's one mama, several little day-olds, and some older ones, that will probably be okay because the babies can find their safety around the mama, and the mama will take care of them. Dahl asked the question, what happened to the chicks that you bought at the feed store? Well, here they are. At the time of the recording of the last video, they were in a separate brooder, which would have looked something like this one. It's just a tub where we rig them up temporary because the chicks, they grow so fast, so there's always a transition. We put some in smaller totes and then we transition to bigger totes or to the brooder. The ducks sometimes will go in these cages, and each time we make sure that they have the proper food, water, bedding, and the heat source so they can reach that next stage. On our back porch, it's a little bit of a mess right now because we've had a lot of chicks and a lot of ducklings in the last couple months. Like I said in the last video, some of them were sold and some of them are still here. But our method really is just to have a series of totes and cages and brooders that are all set up that we can transition the chicks as needed depending on what they are and how big they are. After the chicks have been in the brooder for a while and they've grown up a little bit, they have all their feathers, they don't need a heat source anymore, they're probably going to end up spending a few weeks or a month or so in a tractor, a yard tractor, which is basically just a cage that we can move around the yard. This way they get to be on the grass, they get to eat the natural grasses and bugs or whatever they can find, and it allows them to grow up a little more before they transition into one of the big coops. Thanks guys for sharing those questions with me. I hope I answered them sufficiently. I always appreciate the engagement, the interaction. I learn a lot from this community. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you subscribing, liking, and leaving your comments below. I'll talk to you soon.
I love the way they sound.